Welcome to another Adobe Script tutorial. We'll continue working in Photoshop. This time, I'll show how to save options so the script remembers next time it runs. To start, I've copied the code from Tutorial 11 and made the title Tutorial 12. There are a number of ways to remember interface choices by saving a file. I'll start simple and write a text file alongside the script file. Let's create a settings object to handle this. First, declare a variable for it. Go to the section Script Variables and add a variable, var settings. Also, I want to add a dummy checkbox to show saving its value. In the UI Variables section, I'll add one, var cbDummy. Then add the control to the interface as the last option before OK and Cancel. cbDummy equals p add checkbox, undefined, dummy checkbox. It won't do anything. It's just to show how the value for this type of control is saved. Radio buttons work the same. The value property is either true or false for whether the checkbox or button is checked or not. Now define the settings object. I'll add it right after the setup section. To start, settings is an empty object, which is simply a pair of braces. Then add functions to it. First, a function for the file object we'll use to load and save the settings. Settings file equals function. We need two variables, one for the folder, another for the file name. In this example, I'll use the script location for the folder. var folder equals new file $filename.filename.path. We can get the name of the running script with the ExtendScript $object, the property file name. Turn it into a file object, then get the path property of it. That's the folder where the script is located. Then set a name for the settings file. This may be whatever you like, perhaps the script name. I'll use Tutorial 12 settings. var file name equals tutorial12settings.txt. Now return a new file object using the folder, a path separator, and the file name. Return new file, folder, plus, / plus, file name. One thing to note about ExtendScript: path separators are always /, even for Windows. The scripting engine handles it for us, so we don't need different scripts for macOS and Windows. So just remember, always use / in your file paths. You can edit this function at any time to change the folder where settings are saved and what the file is named. Both are your choice. For example, you could change the folder to ~documents. On both Mac and Windows, this resolves to the current user's Documents folder. There are many possible places settings can be stored. For now, I'll leave the settings file in the script folder. Now let's attach two more functions to the settings object. One to load the settings, another to save them. We'll start with save. Settings save equals function. First, get the settings file into a variable. var file equals this file. And open the file for writing. Do this by calling the open method and pass the string w, meaning write. File, open, w. To make this simple, we'll write each option to its own line. Use the file method writeln for this. File.writeln txt folder input.text. File writeln txt folder output.text. The list of file formats, we want the text of the current selection in the list. File writeln list formats.selection.text. Last, save the dummy checkbox value. File, write ln, cbdummy.value, and close the file. File, close. That completes the save function. Next is a function to load the settings. I'll put this before the save function because I like my functions in alphabetical order. Makes it easier to find them in the code. Settings load equals function. Open the file, but this time for reading, by passing R instead. var file equals this file. File open R. Then read each line of the file and load the values back into the interface controls. Use the file method readLn for this. txt folder input.txt equals file readLn. txt folder output.txt equals file readLn. The selection property of the format list is an index or list item, but we saved the name. To get the list item that matches the name, use the find method of the list. Listformats.selection equals listformats.find file readLn. The checkbox is a little different. When the value is saved to a text file, it's converted to text. So true is the literal text true. Likewise for false. We need to convert the literal text back to a true or false value. cbdummy value equals file readLn equals true. Do the same for radio buttons. Now close the file. File, close. That completes the settings object. The last step is to call load and save as specific places in the script. Load has to come after the interface is defined because it assigns values to interface controls. And it's best to call load before the interface event handlers are defined. Otherwise, as values are loaded, any change events defined for interface controls will fire. Avoid that by loading the settings just before defining the event handlers. Settings, load. Save settings after the user clicks the OK button and before any work is done. So put it here, just before calling the process function. Settings, save. That should do it. Let's run the script. Select folders and the format, and check the dummy checkbox. Click OK. Once done, let's see the settings file. You can see the choices have been saved. Now run the script again. Look at that. It remembers the last folders and format used and the dummy checkbox. As you build more complex scripts with added options, add the new options to the save and load functions. This example is the simplest way to store settings, but not the best. I use JSON to save settings and put the file in user preferences. But that approach is more complex, so I'll save it for another video. Like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe so you're notified of future videos. Also, leave a comment. I always like to hear from you. All feedback is welcome. There are plenty of other tutorials. Click the video or playlist on screen for more. Thank you for watching.